All right, these are the notes for Chapter 5, Casting the Net. There are 3 typical sources for businesses for your medium. First off is going to be national advertisers. These are folks who are agencies that buy in a variety of markets and place their orders through a network or a representative firm. You're also going to have local and regional advertisers who place their schedules through advertising agencies as well. And then you're going to have direct accounts. Direct accounts are usually local retailers and service establishments that place orders themselves. So those are 3 different sources where you are going to find places to sell advertising to. Some other channels of revenue do exist, including non-traditional revenue. Non-traditional revenue, or NTR, refers to dollars that are not committed specifically to media buying, but to promotion or community service activities. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on. There's also budgets that target ethnic and other specialized audiences. Agency selling is ratings oriented. Agencies tend to buy numbers, and their goal is to buy big numbers at the lowest possible prices. So really what agency buyers are most interested in, they're buying for efficiency. They're looking to buy orders from several different television and radio stations, many times several stations in the same market. Or if they're going for one particular place from market to market, they're going to look for, they're looking for the best bang for the buck. So they're looking at figures like cost per point, cost per thousand, and determining where they're going to get the most efficiency for their dollars spent. Direct or retail selling, however, is results oriented. Retailers buy advertising in order to see customers come through the door and to hear the ringing of cash registers. They want to get advertising in order to create their brand awareness, get people into the stores, and to increase their own sales. Direct account buyers most often buy for effectiveness. So there is a difference between efficiency and effectiveness. When you're looking at effectiveness, sometimes it's not always the lowest cost. It's going to be what provides the greatest return. So there is very much that difference of a mindset when you're dealing with an agency as opposed to when you are dealing with a company directly. Let's talk about direct selling. Selling direct means calling on business owners and not on advertising agencies. It is the person-to-person part of the sales process. So many times, if you're not talking to the business owner, you may be talking to a general manager, someone that is involved in marketing for their particular company. It's going to be somebody, though, that does have the authority to pull the trigger on a sales pitch and sales offer that is going to be able to say yes to the buy. But it is going to be someone that works for the company itself or represents the owner himself, herself. The direct advertiser is more likely to measure the effectiveness of an ad by how many people came through the doors and how many pieces of product were sold as a result of the advertising. And the ways that that is going to be measured is not necessarily through any formula that we can talk about in the business. They don't always necessarily care about some of the different ratings measures, some of the different stats that we come up with, like cost per point, cost per thousand. They care about, well, before the advertising, I was doing this much in sales, and after the advertising, I now see that I'm doing this much in sales. Or they may have their own sort of unofficial survey system where when people walk into the business, they say, "Hey, how are you? How did you hear about us?" And if they mention your station, then they count that as a way of measuring that their word is getting out there. Or someone mentions that they heard the ad running on media. They'll also take that into account as well. The direct seller typically works with the people who can make the decisions. It's also called retail selling. A direct seller is also called a retail seller because most direct business comes from some sort of retail store. And when we're talking about retail in this sense, we're talking about a lot of the different types of businesses that you are going to find in your neighborhoods. Stores that sell both hard goods and soft goods, restaurants, drive-ins, various service types of industries, insurance, banking, dry cleaners, heating and plumbing, that sort of thing. Entertainment venues, theaters, nightclubs, skating rinks, all those, any of those that are locally owned and operated or that you can find in your neighborhood and you're dealing with businesses themselves is going to be considered part of this retail category as far as we are concerned. The purpose of retail advertising is to generate store traffic, to increase sales volume, to improve net profits, and to build the store's image or reputation. Also, retail advertising is sometimes used to stabilize sales volume during slow sales periods. So again, they are looking at their bottom line. They want to see that their advertising is effective, and they tie that directly to how well they see their business going with how well they believe their advertising campaign is going. Direct selling takes time. That's why it's often referred to as developmental selling. The salesperson must nurture the prospects and help them develop positive attitudes towards not only the medium, but also the advertising itself. One of the hard things about doing media sales is that because media sales is an intangible, you can't see it, touch it, feel it, all those sorts of things. It can be hard for many retail companies that do sell goods to kind of get past that idea of not being able to hold it in their hands and feel it and experience it and those sorts of things until it's actually on the air and they see the product in action. There's the issue of establishing trust of how well advertising is going to work for them, and being convinced that it is a worthy investment. So those sort of things take time. They take a good bit of convincing, and they take a good bit of the salesperson truly showing that they're working in the best interest of their client as opposed to just trying to sell them something for the sake of selling them something. So it does take time. Many times, several calls over several months, providing various types of arguments as to why advertising is effective. When you sell direct, you'll be the most successful if you are knowledgeable about relationship management. This is what we talked about in step 7 of the sales cycle process back in chapter 2. Retail accounts will expect an intense level of service from you. And servicing the client is going to involve so many things that we've talked about from the textbook, and at times things that we could never even think to mention in this kind of a setting. The more that you show that you are interested in the client, the more that you provide proof that you're doing what you say that you would do, and even more so, the better your relationship with the client is going to be, the more that the client is going to trust you, and the more likely that the client will continue to be a client for you and generating sales revenue for you. Often the retailer you call on is the business owner, who is commonly hypersensitive about the dollars spent on advertising. Retailers often view advertising as a necessary evil and an expense to be avoided. Again, It's that issue of convincing a business owner to part with their money in order to go into an investment that will create a return for them in the form of increased sales. There are truisms about retailers. Here's a few of them. They want reassurance that they're doing the right thing. They want to know that what they're doing is going to be a good investment. They need attention and demand it in subtle ways. And in terms of attention, it's that kind of idea that they're purchasing this particular service and they want to get the most for their money. And also in terms of getting the most for that money, going back to that idea of being reassured that they're doing the right thing. So it is not unusual for a client to call a sales representative and to ask for various things, including copy changes, schedule changes, a list of anticipated spot times. And many times these things will happen near the end of the day when you are trying to wrap things up for the day. If it comes to a production change, many times you also have to pop your head into the production studio and say, hey, so we need to make a quick change for this client. And a lot of times they happen late in the day when everyone's trying to go home. It's part of the job. Retailers want details to be handled. They don't want to have to worry about keeping a close eye on things as far as their media buy. They pretty much see you, the salesperson, as the one that does that for them. And then they also want to know their schedule before it runs so they can see or hear their commercials. And we kind of talked about that already. So they pretty much act like customers. Because they are customers. They're your customers. Just as you want certain things when you're buying products and services, you want to be assured that you have made the right decision when you buy something, that if there's a problem or you have a question, that you can go back to the store and get that problem resolved, get it resolved under your terms in your time. Sales clients are the exact same way. All right, this next section here, the direct sales process, this is kind of a respin of the sales cycle that we studied in chapter 2. It comes at it from a little different approach from a different creator, from Jim Tazarek is where these ideas come from. Sales directors should survey categories that fit their medium best when it comes to delivering results. So a lot of this is taking a look at the different types of industries out there. What is a good fit for your format, your programming, the audiences that you serve, and try to work with those as much as you can. And in addition to that, when you're doing that evaluation for your particular outlet that you're working for, in addition to asking, what are we good at? We should also ask, what are we not good at? So that sellers don't waste their time selling to categories that don't fit. So it takes that age-old question, what is your message? Who is your audience? And try to make sure that the clients that you service or attempt to service, that there's a match of the demographics that both you and your client are trying to connect with, and that there's a certain amount of harmony there, that as you are forming messages for those audiences, you're going to be effective at being able to reach out to that particular audience. You know that audience well. You know how to meet them where they are at, and you want to provide that service for your client. So it's a great question to ask so that you're not wasting time dealing with companies that may not benefit as well from your particular media outlet. Another issue, though, for direct selling is, what is the seller good at? A salesperson who calls on a lot of one type of industry learns more about that industry with each contact made in that industry. So Tazarek is very much a fan of the idea of certain salespeople being the authorities on certain types of industries. Having a salesperson that specializes in dealing with car dealerships and things related to automotive. Having a salesperson that is an expert in dealing with restaurant clients, that sort of thing. And using the strengths of those people to be able to bring in those types of businesses. A couple of the steps that Tazarek has include these. Confirm your facts. Go back to a prospect before the formal presentation and repeat what was said. So when we studied needs analysis, when you're doing the questioning of a client to try to understand what problems the client has, what sort of things are their goals, and what they would like to see happen. Tazarek suggests that you put that stuff together, you use the customer's words in confirming some of the things that you have learned, that you have discussed. And as you confirm those things, that you would even make that a part of the presentation that you put together in pitching the sale of advertising. And then, as far as closing the sale and servicing the client, he then suggests that you put the spots on the air with ceremony, that you celebrate with your client, that you help them to visualize their ad on the air. The textbook had this great story about a station in Poland that would actually make it into a big formal event where they would bring clients into the radio station and have kind of high-end service with coffee and have this signing ceremony for contracts, and that they would turn it into a really big deal. And it was very popular over there. Would that work in the U.S.? I don't know. But the idea that when you deal with your clients and when the sale has been completed, that you basically treat them with a certain amount of respect, with a certain amount of gratitude, that you make the client feel special. Again, we all like to have that sense of being appreciated, of being valued, of being reassured that we're doing the right thing. And to keep those things in mind as you're building your relationship with your client, and to do things that make them feel significant and that you value them is going to be a very important thing. Building partnerships. There are definite patterns to retailing. Merchandise bought by customers at this time this year will also be purchased by the same customers at the same time next year. As we're coming up on spring, a lot of people are looking into what it's going to take to tend to their gardens, maybe do a little landscaping, do some home improvements on the outside of their home. So this is definitely going to be a big time for nurseries and home improvement stores. We just finished up Valentine's Day not too long ago, and you can be sure that flowers and chocolates and all those sorts of things were big sellers early in the month of February. Now, with that in mind, because there are patterns to the way that certain things become popular to sell in, well, just about any type of business industry, those that are in those types of businesses are going to be planning ahead, not just for their sales strategies, but also for their advertising for the things that they want to sell. So what does that mean for you as a seller? Well, you cannot wait until just a month before a certain event to pitch ideas for that event. If you know that it's coming up on planting season, you need to be talking with clients in January, early February in order to get spots on the air for March and April. You may even want to start in the late winter, early spring, talking about big summer events and getting the planning for those underway. It's a little bit of a challenge in that, especially with the way that salespeople are paid, most of the time, again, salespeople are paid on collections received. So if you're pitching an idea in January for advertising that would run in June, and the client doesn't pay for that advertising until July or August, it is also planning ahead on your part in terms of being able to realize income that may not come into your pockets for several months after your original plotting out of things. But it's a way to be able to bring the business in, and an ability for you to be able to do some long-term planning as well. Ideas for sale. What your retail client wants is ideas to enhance business. Those ideas can take the form of intriguing copy concepts that make commercials more effective, or a promotion that adds value to the commercial schedule and marketing punch for the retailer. So part of what you're doing is not just selling the airtime. You're also helping the sales, you're helping the retailer is what I'm trying to say. You're helping the retailer not just by advertising, but you're also helping them to be able to think of creative ways to be able to express their message, and maybe even sometimes helping them figure out the ways that they're going to present certain sales and offers and packages and that sort of thing. Promotion refers to an activity that gets viewers or listeners directly involved with an activity or event that enhances the image of your outlet and your advertiser's business. This is a great way to be able to get listeners or viewers excited about something, and for it to be of benefit not just to your client, but also to your station. There's three basic types of promotion. There's audience promotions, which introduce your outlet to new users or extend the viewing or listening of existing users. Watch and win sort of promotions come to mind. But there's many different ways to encourage viewership and listenership, in addition to helping your clients to be able to be associated with that. There are community promotions, which are designed to support charity campaigns or large public events. So if your station is partnering with the local Relay for Life or some other sort of local charity, or if a big parade is happening in town, St. Patrick's Day parade, Christmas parade, what have you, to tie in with something like that and to be able to bring advertisers along with you. And then advertiser promotions or sales promotions, which are designed to attract the attention of buyers and make them feel favorable towards your operation. And there's various ways of making that connection there for a promotion that is actually spearheaded by the business itself, and the station tying in with something like that. Effective promotion strategy is going to combine the best elements of each type of promotion that is listed here on the screen. Prize promotions are often constructed at the local retail level to build store traffic and audience participation at the same time, because, everybody likes the chance to win something. So it can be a great motivator for listeners and viewers to be able to participate in the promotion, and for clients to be able to capitalize on the participation from those viewers and listeners. Sometimes rules of a contest will include going to various businesses and picking up game pieces, or maybe if like it's a scavenger hunt contest and you're supposed to find certain things, and they're located at various businesses, including those that participate in the promotion, and it drives traffic into client stores. Promotional ideas come in a variety of shapes and sizes: contests, premiums, giveaways, special events, special offers for customers who patronize the advertiser's business. So there are many, many different ways to put together a promotional campaign. It is just limited by your creativity and the creativity of the client. There's a box in your textbook talks about sales promotion, and just to spend a little bit of time on this, how to put together an effective sales promotion. There's several questions that need to be answered in order in structuring the particular promotion. Some of those questions include the campaign purpose. Is the primary purpose of the campaign to project station image, or is it to sell time? It could be both and, but many times it's going to focus on one or the other. Target clients. Will the campaign be directed towards existing advertisers, potential new clients, or both? So are you trying to create a campaign in which you are rewarding and showcasing advertisers that have been with you for a long time, or trying to bring in new business? Client benefits. What benefits to the client will the campaign stress? Why should clients get involved in this particular promotion? What's in it for them? Promotion methods. Will it be promoted primarily on the air, or will a joint promotion with advertisers take place? So is it something where the station is taking on most of the brunt of letting people know what is going on, or is it going to be also on the part of the clients to be able to promote the special promotion that is going on, whether it's with posters in their stores or announcements inside the store, whatever it may be? Content. Should the content be prepared by station staff? Sometimes for larger promotional events, a station may hire outside help to be able to help put the campaign together, and the content of the promotion, kind of going in with different promotions that may happen in different markets, or markets that happen regionally or nationally, and kind of putting a local spin on that. So how will the content be prepared? Budgets. What costs will be incurred? What costs will be incurred by the station? What costs will be incurred by the client? And are the costs going to create a return of investment? Schedule. Will the period of the campaign match advertisers' needs? One great example would be when stations put together promotions such as a bridal fair or a bridal show. Many times weddings happen late spring into the summer months. So those that are planning their weddings, they're not necessarily going to be interested in a bridal show in the fall after most people have gotten married. As they're doing their planning, they may want to look at things during the winter months. So bridal showcases are actually not bad promotional campaigns for those lean winter months when business overall tends to be slow for a media outlet. That's just one example. Program impact. Will the campaign attract additional listeners, or will it detract from programming? The part of the promotion may include special broadcasts of different things, which would take away from what is normally put out over the air. If the event is promoted as special programming, that could be a tactic. Or maybe if the effort is to try to get more people introduced to the regular content of the station, it may be promoted more in terms of special features within programming that already exists. Finally, evaluation. What will be the criteria for success? Will it be the amount of revenue that comes in? Will it be the ratings that the station gets as a result? Would there be some other sort of criteria that would measure success? All right, moving on. Advertisers, the endangered species. The good news about selling direct is that an idea can be presented to a decision maker. And we've kind of talked about that already. Part of the challenge here is that selling direct is becoming more and more of a challenge as more and more small businesses seem to be on the decline in certain ways. Many small businesses don't necessarily feel like they have the ability to do advertising, comparing with some of the big box retailers out there with much larger budgets and things like that. But there's still certain benefits for local businesses to be able to advertise, and that the advertising can be effective for them to be able to stand out in a crowd of the big box store environments. And one of the benefits for you as the seller is not having to go through corporate chains or dealing with middlemen, agencies, that sort of thing. You can go directly to a business owner or to the person responsible for making decisions on advertising and work with them directly. One of the things that helps is that when you are going to talk with a business, that you try to use terminology that they are going to be familiar with from a business standpoint, from an industry standpoint for them. And there's a good glossary of industry terms that is available. That's in several pages of your textbook. It's something that you may want to study as you are looking at talking with businesses out there and helping to understand some of the things that they are concerned with and using the same terminology they do so that you're both on the same page when you're talking about things.